Welcome to Stress-Free Solutions with Sarah. I'm your host, Sarah Elise, a stress management and fitness coach, advocating the world to trust their gut more often. I discuss various ways to manage stress and share personal stories of guest experts who have gone through the same stressors as all of you at home. Hey there, super moms of the universe. Let's play a game called hide and seek. No, not with your kids or that mysteriously vanishing left sock. It's time to seek out you in the everyday hide and seek of life. Introducing Mastering the Soul System, a 12-week journey to reclaim your time and energy. This course is your gateway to finding balance, energy, and joy in every aspect of your bustling life. Picture this, 12 weeks where the words mom and mayhem don't always go together. Rediscover yourself with every breath in our Soulful Mind Weeks. Sing out loud in the shower or car, off-key is absolutely fine, and dance during our Soulful Body sessions, and embrace the quiet whispers of your heart in our Soulful Spirit adventures. It's about time your spirit got a front row seat, don't you think? Join us on this journey. Embrace the harmony between being a dedicated mom and your personal aspirations. Mastering the soul system, because darling, in the noise, find your silence. And maybe, just maybe, a bit of that elusive thing called me time. You deserve to thrive, not just survive. So come on, slide into our world at www.livewellenhanceyou.com/soul system. Your journey back to you starts now. Jennifer Eden is the co-founder and CEO of Tampon Tribe, a company at the forefront of sustainable and organic personal care. With over 33 years in media, sales, marketing, and communication, Jennifer has established herself as a formidable leader and entrepreneur. At Tampon Tribe, Jennifer's commitment to sustainable business practices has led to remarkable success. The company, known for its zero plastic, completely organic product, has achieved an average annual growth rate of 623%, underscoring Jennifer's adeptness in blending ethical responsibility with entrepreneurial success. Jennifer has been featured in Forbes, Inc., Huffington Post, BuzzFeed, Cheddar TV, and as an ex-news anchor and TV reporter, is an expert on camera and loves working live. She is also a keynote speaker and impact business leader. I'm very fortunate to know her. She is incredible and inspires me every day to keep pushing in my own business. So with that being said, Jen, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. What an intro. Thank you for having me. I don't know if I can say anything.
Oh, well,
It's a pleasure.
People don't know the founders behind some of the most amazing products. What you're doing is incredible. In this age we're living in, I feel there's so much toxicity in our products, and it's overwhelming. How did you even come up with the idea of Tampon Tribe?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. We are bombarded from every avenue about anything to consume. I totally empathize with trying to find your way through that minefield. And that's where I found myself. It was about 8 years ago where I found myself at this point in my life after going through really debilitating period pain that I thought there just has to be a better way to live. And of course, you're getting told by like doctors all the time, like, this is just normal. This is your period. I'm like, it can't be. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I started doing some research and I found that a lot of the toxins in period products could actually be exacerbating my pain. I'm like, let me investigate, right? So I found these like certified organic cotton period products in Europe. And I thought, I'm just going to try them. And I was actually in the US at the time. And the next month, zero period pain. I'm like, no way, it cannot be that simple. I persevered with these products, never pain again. And then once I was traveling for a couple of months and the pain came back, I'm like, oh, I see, it was just a coincidence. However, The previous month, I'd used store-bought period products. And through that little experiment on myself, I'm like, right, if this is impacting my body in this way, how many other people are suffering, and how many people have got endometriosis or any other condition that really exacerbates when you put a toxin in on your body, pain, longer periods, heavier flow. And I'm like, and even if you don't have that, who wants to put all these toxins in their body, right?
Right.
So, we decided, my business partner and I, to start Tampon Tribe, and with all certified organic period products that are all metal-free and toxin-free. And then at the same time, the sustainability revolution was right there. And I'm from Australia, and Gab, my business partner, is from Brazil. And we're very passionate about our planet and plastics. And, I saw in the US that there were all these plastic tampon applicators and plastic backed pads. I'm like, wait, what and why? It doesn't make sense to me. And there still are everywhere. So we're the only company in the US to only use GOTS and ICEA certified organic cotton and be totally plastic free. So that's how it started.
That's really cool. Now, because let's be real, like, they're wanting to scale their business, right? Possibly a reason why they added a lot more plastic to the mix. So how do you balance staying true to your ethics while also scaling fast like you have?
So for us, it's the core to our business. So authenticity and transparency is really at the core of Tampon Tribe. So we don't waver at all. It's a non-negotiable for us. Everybody's brand is different, but for us, really only using those super safe, third-party tested ingredients and being plastic free was something that we just don't waver on. And believe me, you get tempted. You look at the costs and you're like, okay, we could shave off some cents here and maybe use an alternate material here, but it's just not what we're about. For us, building the brand and scaling authentically has enabled us to get to where we are. And sometimes people ask us, you've been doing this for 8 years. Where is the business? It could be bigger. I'm like, sure, it could be bigger. It's still pretty big.
Yeah.
Is it worth growth and size or product range to compromise? I don't believe it is for us. So we've always, it's easy actually, because if it contains ingredient A, it's out. If it contains plastic, no, we won't do it. If it's not compostable, that's not an option. So it actually makes it easy when you're developing product. For our period underwear is the same. It has to be an organic fabric that has gone through very rigorous testing and have to be microplastic and PFAS free. That's a non-negotiable. So when we're designing the products and looking at materials, that's first and foremost. And you'll speak with manufacturers and they'll be like, we can do this. I'm like, but what's in it?
Yeah.
This dye, or it's organic, but it also has this, or it's more absorbent. No, but why is it more absorbent? So we don't trade off for anything.
Yeah.
I understand why other businesses do, but it's not for us.
How does it feel like bringing transparency to this market that's been hush hush for decades?
I think when you really realize the impact is when you get customers who reach out and thank you. And it's really funny because only a few weeks ago now, we added this little leave a comment, if you like, for your order, right, on the website. And you expect people to say, oh, please wrap it in this or add this. People are putting like lovely notes of thanks.
That's awesome.
I'm like, oh my goodness, like, thank you for doing what you're doing. You've changed my life. I've now been able to get pregnant and I've had problems with infertility for 5 years. All these stories, my period is shorter. I don't have any period pain. I got an email this morning from a great customer who also has a shop. She's like, we've just brought the products in the shop because it's impacted my life so much. So I think that's when you feel the impact and where you get to sit with a little bit of pride in how our team operates, in how the company's ethical standards can have an impact. It's very humbling, actually. Because there's the business side, right, which we're interested in, and the growth and the numbers. But is it really worth all that? I mean, sure, you need to be profitable to stay afloat and you want to grow because then you broaden your impact. But honestly, hearing from our customers through the review or when someone takes time to send an email or add a note to their order, that's amazing. And our whole team feels that. I've got a goal. I want to put a whole lot of them up on posters and put them, around so we can see that impact. It's greater than us. The fact that these mainstream products are so debilitating to people's lives, and they have chemicals that make you bleed more. They have chemicals that, because then you use more product, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people sometimes say, whoa, you've got a pack of tampons. It's only 16. I'm like, that's a lot of tampons. Like if you're using more than, unless you have a heavy bleeding condition, your period doesn't have to be that long. Unless you're going through change of life. There are other circumstances, right? You don't need 50 a month. Like you shouldn't be having 50 of them. It's an indication that perhaps your body's a bit out of balance.
That just blew my mind, though, what you just said, that they put ingredients into their products that actually cause people to bleed more.
Mhm. Mm.
It's wild. And it's true. Like, I would get probably a 48 pack, especially I'd say in my college years, I would always be going through them. It was also, I felt like a stressful time in my life, right? You're moving away from your family. I was a musical theater major, so a lot of competition. But oh, that's insane. Like, we
Yeah.
shouldn't have to use that many in a 5 to 7 day period. For
Yeah.
some
And
people,
the
it's 10
length
days.
the length is way shorter than that. We have a lot of people who used to have periods that would last 7 days heavy, and they come down after a few months to 3 or 4 days, and you have lighter flows moving forward that you could maybe use the panty liner or a pad for. And pads also, you've got to be really careful of. But a big
Wow.
challenge I always like to say to people, grab the pack of pads that you have, or when you're in the supermarket or the grocery store, and have a look at the ingredients. They will blow your mind. I guarantee that most of us haven't even looked in the back of a pads or a tampon pack. There's no legislation saying that you have to put the ingredients on them, but some do. So a
Oh,
lot of
wow.
pads, yeah, a lot of them will just say one thing. It's not mandated. I think most companies do put the ingredients on, and it is mind blowing what's in them, particularly for young growing bodies as well, who use
Yeah.
pads, because we just don't correlate. Like, this is a chemical laden toxic product that we'll be putting on one of the most sensitive parts of our body. It's very, very important.
Yeah, it's a disruptor, and it's incredible that you're providing this. You shared some of your customer comments and appreciation, but they probably feel safe now to have a product
Yeah.
like yours out there.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we do aim for that, and that's what we hear back. So that's a bit of a
Is
privilege,
that a
I
good
think.
sign?
But it's crazy because you also go through this unusual adjustment period where you realize that products that you've been buying and trusting in, you shouldn't have been, perhaps. So then everyone processes that information differently, but it can be a little jarring to think,
Yeah.
wait, sorry, what? The products I literally purchased and I physically put in on my body have been causing this. So you have to get through that, because you can go through a bit of guilt, understanding that, wait, if I had worked this out 20 years ago, I wouldn't have had to go through, perhaps,
Mhm.
not for everyone, but I may not have had to go through some of that procedure that I had to go through. And I'm never saying that switching to organic and plastic free is going to solve everything. Of course not. But it's worth a try.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
diving into the organic product is important too, because a lot of organic products will either call themselves organic when they're not, or they'll use some element of organic, but they'll still use the chemicals, or they'll
Yeah.
still put plastic on it. I'm like, I just don't quite get that. But
In the US versus anywhere else, have you noticed a significant amount of difference in the time period in which you had to put your product, like we have for the food department, the FDA, like, do you have to go through a bunch of different things outside of the country versus in here? Is it a little bit less to get it certified?
Our certification is all done internationally because we import the organic cotton. All the European certifications, that's where we grow our cotton. It's all grown in Europe because to get that level of certification, you need to have many different items in place, from the soil to the pesticides to the herbicides to the manufacturing. The level of cotton that we need, we don't get that in the US, so we get that abroad, where those certifications are very strong. It's different regulations here. For example, titanium dioxide is banned in Europe and I think maybe in Australia, but they can use it in tampons here. So you definitely have different regulatory framework. We are FDA certified. A tampon is a class 2 medical device, so we hold all of our certifications here for sure. We don't have to certify our products in Australia or Europe, so I'm not sure what that process would be. But the ingredients lists are different. So a lot of things that are allowed to be used in products here are banned elsewhere. I mean, a lot of them are proven carcinogens, like I say, titanium dioxide being one of them, and all the aluminum that's in all of the period products, all the man-made materials, the synthetics. Yeah, they're not allowed in a lot of other countries in the world.
So because you are a smaller fish in this big pond, how would you educate people? I know you're on podcasts like this, but how are you educating people that may not have access to these products?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a challenge. Last year, a large-scale report came out of Berkeley, their research labs, basically stating the heavy metals that are found in tampons and pads, including several organic products. That then got picked up by TikTok influencers and everything blew up. So great for our brand that we are third-party certified, metal-free, toxin-free. But it allowed us to come a lot more into the mainstream. So previously we were really focused on those niche markets who are already buying organic, who already understand that maybe mainstream products are not so great. That report alone really opened the floodgates. And then we became very vocal on social media platforms, particularly, and they're playing a huge role in education, along with podcasts and vlogs and, our marketing. But it did have to take a shift because we're now marketing to a lot more people and our customers base has changed a lot. So like I say, we went from being a niche company to something much more mainstream, and we've grown very significantly because of that and
Incredible.
increased our retail distribution as well as our direct to consumer and our Amazon due to the increase in knowledge. But I think really, social media plays a huge part now. People look to influencers. They trust people a lot more than they trust brands on the shelves. There's still a ways to go, but we're getting there. And then you have the younger generations are really switched on to what's in their product. They're reading ingredients, researching companies, they're watching podcasts like this, listening to podcasts, jumping on social media. But there's still that balance between, hey, we've got this great brand that we love, and also educating. And it's an interesting balance. I don't know if anyone ever gets it perfectly. It's correct.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, because it's also a different landscape in how we communicate, a lot of things are now social media. As a founder, how are you able to still be like your authentic self? You're very polished, but I know that you love to be real through storytelling and you're straight to the point. How has that been, like, navigating TikTok and all these things while still staying true to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think being authentic is everything, and it's worked well for us. And we've tried to be, we've tried ultra polished campaigns and they just don't resonate. People just see through it, which is great for us because that's the core of our brand. I often speak on authenticity of brand, and For us, it's great because it is multifaceted. Other brands are different, but for us, it's totally fine. So I am always a little bit flabbergasted, like someone will listen to me talking about something with my car, and that does better. These gorgeous influencers to do stuff. I'm like, really? I'm not our demographic, really. I'm older, but I guess I can be the brand authority. And that's what people are looking for. They're just looking for someone to tell the truth and to tell how it is. And I think with so much on social media, consumers of social media can see that. They call you out for it as well,
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing. If you're being authentic, please call me out on everything because I'll be able to respond to that. When you're not, that's when it gets tricky. So if you're always just being truthful,
Mm-hmm.
authentic, this is what we're trying to do. If you'd like in, that's great. We can help you. Here's a little bit of information about the industry or the product or building a business or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think I've always been true to that. My background, as you mentioned earlier, is in media and news, and that was polished to a point. However, the stories that were really interesting to work on and the ones that really resonated were just everyday stories.
Mm-hmm.
They were just about people doing things, sometimes extraordinary, but sometimes not. And that's also fine. I learned that as a young reporter, that actually sometimes these very authentic, simple, kind stories that do well. And you see that on social, right? How I don't know about you, but I stay at night and I'm looking at all these people that are giving and helping others, and you're drawn to that more than something that's flashy.
Yeah, 100%. I just think of too, all of our past careers that have gotten us to where we are now, and the communication skills, the connection with people. I always say improv is like the golden rule for life. Got to yes and everything to find out where we are destined to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like as entrepreneurs, it's a giant yes and. You got to take risks. I know you've had a lot of different ventures before this. What other marketing or brands were you working on?
Yeah. As I mentioned, I started, early on in my life as a broadcaster. I worked in radio, TV, and also in print across a whole range of verticals, from news to at a weekend radio show to finance. When I was working over in China, I was a commentator for the Olympic Games in China, which was amazing.
So,
So fun. I always say yes. So that's, I'm like, yeah, let me do that. That'll be great. And then I also, before here, worked with my business partner. We had restaurants in Beijing in China, where I was for 8 years. I did some really cool things there. When you're an expat, random opportunities come up. However, like you mentioned, they kind of all channel back into one or
right.
product because you are, right?
Yeah, your
Which is
brand.
marketing and sales. In my mind, everything is sales. So if you can't sell whatever you've got, you have no business, and this comes down to everyone. If Uber can't sell an Uber ride, there's no Uber, right? Doesn't matter. No one wants to call it sales anymore. Now it's business development. It's selling things, right? Everything's selling things. Like even art, in music, in drama, if nobody watches it, I mean, yes, it's very satisfying to do it for yourself. Nothing is wrong with that. You don't need to sell your art. You don't need anyone else to see it. However, if it's going to become a business, you do.
Yeah.
So it just depends what your goal is. For me, a lot of my life has been based on communication, that sales element, and communicating what you're doing, whether you're selling houses, whether you're selling cars, whether you're commentating at the Olympics, whether you're, I did the weather for a while, like whatever it is, it's all communicating. And for me, that's something I really enjoy. I also really like doing different things and using those skills across, whatever I've done is enjoyable for me personally. So yeah, before Tampon Tribe, tried a couple of businesses that didn't work. You've got your failures as well, of course. there's the business side behind all of it as well that you need to learn. And if you don't learn that, you need to have someone on your team, who can do it successfully. I'm a little bit scrappy, so I like to work things out and do a quick course or learn by myself or ask others who have been before you how to do something. I built all the businesses from that way. My business partner's the same. We don't have business degrees, but we have lived in a lot of different countries. We run multi-million-dollar supply chains on a monthly basis, and we just worked it out. A lot of that is through communicating and listening to people and being flexible enough to adapt to different situations. And believe me, there were times when I didn't and fell definitely flat on my face.
I was going to say, like, has there been a mistake, though, that actually catapulted one of your businesses to the next level?
I don't know if catapulted that business to the next level. I think like maybe causing the demise of that business. However, taking those skills into the next business.
Yes.
As a young business person, and I think this is probably across the board, we're so arrogant. We don't think we are, but rather than listening and really taking a step back when faced with, a challenge or a question that could have been easily solved, we tend as human beings to put our egos in play, particularly as a younger person, and, stamp our foot, even if it's silent, and stand like, this is what I want. This is my business type of thing. And that comes across in an adversarial way, even if it's not direct. Indirectly, people can feel that. And that definitely caused one of my previous businesses not to continue. So they didn't renew a contract. That was a very successful one. I had a coffee shop and I was a little too arrogant in what I would and wouldn't do. And I didn't even think that this could cost me the business that was running itself. Anyway, it did. However, it definitely set me up as a slightly older woman on how to make decisions and how to take a pause and how to consider everybody in the situation and not be as reactive as we are in our 20s. But
Totally. Dude, the magic of pause. Can we just talk about that? I feel business owners need that, to hear that over and over again, because so often we'll react right away and it could just be a catastrophic disaster.
100%. And then you can't dig yourself out. There are some things you can't. And so I think that's probably one of the largest lessons. And that comes with age. You have to make those mistakes. I don't know anyone in their 50s who hasn't made that mistake. So it sets you up for the next business. But those mistakes are crucial. And you make those mistakes. I still make mistakes now. We don't make the right decision. But I think dealing with it with a different level of consideration definitely changes, with experience. You're not as hard on yourself as perhaps previously, knowing that you made those decisions with the best intentions. And sometimes it doesn't work out. That's okay. Providing you can still keep your business afloat and it hasn't cost you everything. But I still make those decisions that are not always the correct one. And it's interesting though, I'm just thinking about what you said about the pause is so relevant. Even yesterday, I had to have an important conversation and I wasn't in the right mind frame. I'd been traveling, I was exhausted. And I literally just asked, can we have this conversation tomorrow? And that I would never have done that before. I would have got into the conversation. It would have gone downhill. And then you're trying to backpedal, just knowing when to tomorrow's okay. You're going to be fresh of mind. You're going to have a better perspective. So I think that kind of lesson is something great, learning from not making the right choices previously.
So I love to do a good lightning round to find out a little bit more about you and your product too.
Sure.
So here we go. All right, let's go. We'll go organic cotton or bamboo fiber. What's your material crush?
Organic cotton.
Authenticity or aesthetics? What comes first?
Authenticity.
Most empowering song on your Get in Alignment playlist?
Eye of the Tiger.
Ooh, love it. Coffee or cold plunge? What gets you going in the morning?
Espresso coffee.
Yes. One word that describes Tampon Tribe's vibe.
Authentic.
Boom. Greenwashing or gatekeeping? What's worse?
They're both awful.
I know.
I would say greenwashing because it's inauthentic. It's not real. Gatekeeping is obvious.
Yeah. Truth bomb or tampon drop? Which would you rather deliver?
A tampon drop. But I might drop a truth bomb.
Your favorite way to unwind after a big pitch or speaking gig?
I love playing pickleball. That is my obsession.
Do you have the pad and everything?
Yeah. I have everything. I play pretty competitively.
Awesome. I'm learning something new about you. It's awesome. One ingredient that should never be in period products, but often is.
Titanium dioxide.
Mm-hmm. That's the one we talked about earlier, right?
Yeah, I'd say that and aluminum. They're both up there together. And there's a list. They're probably the most damaging to my understanding. A scientist might say something else.
If authenticity were a fragrance, what would it smell like?
My initial one is white tea, but I'm thinking woodsy. The forest.
Yes, I love it. I just want to say thank you so much. I love ending with this question because so many people deal with stress differently and it affects them differently. How has stress saved your life?
I think stress has saved my life by really knocking me out and giving me a reality check that my health and the health of my loved ones is worth more than anything. It's enabled me to prioritize what's truly important alongside growing a business. My loved ones, my family, my friends, my sport, my health, my team. Without that, like big knock on the app, I probably wouldn't have had that realization to realign my life.
Yeah. It is amazing the impact that stress can have, and it can lead to so many realization. For me, it was my dad's passing that knocked me on my ass. I realized that I wasn't treating my body well, and I had to follow my intuition and make some changes. I really appreciate you sharing that because it's not always easy to talk about stress, especially when things are going well right now. So, yeah.
And I think too, we're almost conditioned that we should operate under this level of stress, that is normal. Like, I'm not sure when that became normal. And it's much more here in the US than when I go back and visit Australia.
Yeah.
Granted, there are plenty of people stressed out in Australia and Europe and the world, without a doubt. However, the balance there between life is so highly valued, right?
Yeah.
So in summertime there, I go and visit my family, and after work, everyone's at the beach, they're on the street, they're talking with neighbors, we're having outdoor barbecues. That is normal. If you're not there, like, where are you? You're
right.
Not at work. They're on the street with their neighbors enjoying their life. They've done their work, right? Whereas you find often in startup circles or in business groups, you're almost a badge of honor that you've been working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. That has somehow become the pinnacle of work.
It's so sad because we could still work effectively if we were with our loved ones more often, if we, took a walk in the park midday.
Yeah. Or a vacation more than 3 days. I speak about my friends back in Australia who take 6 weeks off a year, and Europe takes 7 weeks. It's normal.
Yeah, it's normal.
Not like productivity dives. Everything still continues.
Yep.
Goals are still hit. Sales are still made. It's something to reflect on, definitely. And I'm not a master at that. It's something I work on definitely on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And getting over the guilt of not working. Like,
Yeah,
non-stop kind of journey, isn't it?
it is.
Space.
I will say, since having my now I'm a 19-month-old, it's crazy. But since having her, it made me realize you don't have to work 40 hours. You don't have to be at the beck and call of all your clients. You can turn it off after 5 p.m. if you really want to. And you just make time for the thing that you really need to do late at night. And that's fine, but you get to decide. You don't let others decide for you. It's hard though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard. And I'm with you. It's the same thing. But we're working on it. It's in progress. We're trying a little bit every day. And I think that's all we can do. That's great. Doing a little bit better each day in terms of prioritizing yourself and your family and your friends and your loved ones.
Yeah.
If you don't succeed at that, that's also okay. Like, it's not another challenge.
We don't need another to-do list. No.
But, getting that into your routine and giving yourself that pause and that grace to be able to say, it's okay, I've got this afternoon, I'll get to it tomorrow. And then just being efficient in those days, I think we can definitely free up that time for life.
100. Well, thank you so much. I would love for you to share how people can connect with you and also buy Tampon Tribe's products.
Of course. So for Tampon Tribe, just head to our website, tampontribe.com, and you can find us on all of the socials. And you can find us on all of the socials at Tampon Tribe. You can message me through there. Just ask for Jen, or you can find me at Jen_Eden.
Thank you, Jen. I really appreciate this. This was so much fun. It was really great talking to you.
I've had such a great afternoon. So thank you for having me on, and great to speak with you and see you via the screen.
Yeah. Well, everyone, you know what to do. Share your takeaways, connect with Tampon Tribe and Jen. And as always, remember to speak well and be kind to yourself on this self-love journey. Thanks to Dan Lieber at Beckett Brown Music for the intro and outro music. You can keep in touch with me on Instagram at Sarah Elise Coaching. If you're looking to improve your health and wellness, check out my business, livewellenhanceyou.com. While you're there, join the Live Well Enhance You email list and receive exclusive offers for our wellness programs and events. Until next time, take care.